In the previous lecture, we learned about Trojans and we seen how we can create a simple Trojan using a download and execute payload, so using something that we already learned before. Now, after watching this lecture and testing this, you probably noticed two main disadvantages about this method. The first one is, because this is a download and execute payload, the target needs to have internet access when they execute the file, because the file will have to download two files, the front file and the eval file. So without internet access, the method will not work. The second problem is that we need to have all the files uploaded on a hosting service that is accessible to the user and that allows the user to download the files using a direct URL without ads, without HTML, literally serve the file. Now, this is not hard to achieve, but you're gonna have to go and sign up for a hosting service or you need to use your own server. An easier way to literally package the front file with the eval file when we are converting the eval file to an exe. Then, when the eval file is executed or the Trojan is executed, we're going to extract the front file, execute it and show it in the foreground, and then execute the eval code in the background. Now, this might sound a little bit complicated, but it's actually really easy. And let me show you how to do it in practice, and you'll see how simple it is. So far we know in order to package a program, and let's say if we want to package the reverse backdoor.py, we're going to have to use wine, we're going to have to call PyInstaller, and we're going to have to say I want this to be packaged as one file with no console. So we covered all of this and we covered exactly why we use each one of these options. Now, in order to add one more file, which is the file that we want the user to see when they execute our Trojan, all we have to do is add one more argument. So the argument that I'm gonna add is called addData, and then we're gonna give it the data that we need to add between two quotes. So the first thing that we need to write is the location of the file that we want to add, that we want the user to see. And in my example, this time, instead of showing a car, I want to show the user a PDF file. So right here in my downloads, I have a file called sample.pdf, and as you can see, if you execute it, you'll see a normal PDF. So this is what I want the user to see when they run my backdoor, and I'm gonna have to put its full location on my current system after the addData argument. So it's in my root, downloads, and it's called sample.pdf. Then I'm gonna put a semicolon, and after the semicolon, you're supposed to put the location where you want to store this file once the backdoor is executed. So the location on the target system where to store the front file. Now you can put this in the temp or somewhere hidden so that the user doesn't see it. By default, PyInstaller will actually put it in the temp of the app data. So it's in an unusual location that the user will probably not see. So I don't want to change that, and I'm just gonna put a dot to use that directory, the default directory that PyInstaller puts the files that we embed in our package. And that's it, I'm done. So we're using the exact same command that we always use. The only difference is we added a new argument called addData. In this argument, we specified the file that we want to show to the user when they execute our Trojan, and I put the full location to this file. I put a semicolon followed by a dot because I want to use the default location that PyInstaller usually use when they extract files at the target system. Then the rest of the arguments are still the same, and we can compile the backdoor right now. Now, what we are gonna do once we compile it, we're gonna package the front file with the eval file. When the eval file gets executed, it's going to extract the front file at runtime, so all of that is perfect. we need to do the third step, which is to run the front file from the evil code, because now when the person executes the reverse backdoor.py, what's going to happen is it's going to run my backdoor according to this code, but nothing will execute the file that we just packaged. So all we need to do is just use some simple code in here before we run the backdoor, before we establish the connection, in order to run the front file. So first of all, I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call this file name, and this will hold the value for the location of the front file of the PDF. Now, like I said, because we're only putting a dot in here, PyInstaller is going to place this file in a default location that PyInstaller always use. Now, this default location can be accessed by doing sys._meipass. And then we're going to follow this by the file name, and my file name is sample.pdf. Now, file name variable is going to contain the full location on the target system where the sample.pdf is going to be stored. So this right here will be replaced by the default location where PyInstaller places the files that we package with our program. Finally, we're just going to have to run the file name or the file that we have in here. So, as you know, we usually use subprocess to run stuff, and we're going to use popen so that we don't block the execution of the program, and all we want to run is file name. And we're just going to set shell to true, and that's it, we're done. So, I'm going to go down, and I'm going to compile this, so I'm just going to hit enter. And this is all done. Now I'm going to transfer it to my Windows machine. And I have the file here. But before I run it, I'm actually going to go and listen for incoming connections. So I'm just going to do python listener.py. And let's go ahead and run the file. We're going to run it anyway. And as you can see, the user is going to see the PDF that we embedded with our backdoor. The PDF is going to run in the default application that runs PDFs in this computer. Again, you can see that there is no command prompt windows or anything suspicious happening. But if we go to the Kali machine, you'll see that we got our connection, and now we're able to run any commands. So now our evil code got executed on the system. So again, as usual, you can use this method with any code that you want, with any evil code that you want. I'm using the backdoor just as an example. And as you can see, we can use this method to create a Trojan so that we can send the user a file and tell them that this is a PDF or an image or an MP3. And when they run it, they will get the file that they expect. But at the same time, our evil code is going to run in the background.